talking about one tip. What's one thing I can tell you to keep you from falling, or a parent or a loved one? One thing. If I had one piece of advice. Well, first thing I'd have to tell you is, how does balance work? All right. As we age, the synapses in our brain get further apart. In other words, the way we interpret data takes us longer, right? That's why you don't see 70, 80-year-old gymnastics athletes, basketball players, football players, because recognition takes a little longer. Have you ever stumped your toe? And then you know you're falling, but for some reason you just can't react fast enough to prevent yourself from falling. It's like you're in slow motion. Well, that's because the synapses in your brain have moved away from one another. And now the neurotransmitters that carry those signals, it takes them a little longer. If we introduce neurological diseases like dementia or Alzheimer's, things like dopamine, sometimes the train doesn't even reach the station, right? It gets derailed. So I want you to know it's not your fault. The synapses in our brains are moving further apart. The vestibular system, your eyes and ears. Eyes are extremely important to balance. You're going to find that out. You have a common nerve running to your eye, from your eyes to your brain, and a common nerve running from your inner ear, right, to your brain. If you've ever been on a boat, you're looking out at the horizon, your eyes tell you you're level, you're fine, you're not moving. But your waves in the boat are moving you side to side, back and forth, and that common nerve from your ears are telling you, hold on, we're all over the place. You're getting mixed signals. That's how we get motion sickness. Okay, you're going to find a great example of how important your eyesight is to your balance in just a second. Okay, thirdly, proprioceptors, mechanoreceptors. We have receptors at the bottom of our feet that detect pressure. So if I'm going too far forward, there's signals going to my brain saying, hey, we have a lot of pressure up here, please move back before you fall. All right, proprioceptors, a great example of proprioceptors, are someone who has had an amputation. We have nerve endings in our skin, in our epidermis, the brain is trying to connect to, that gives us an idea of where our limbs are in space and time. If you have an amputee, they may experience what we call phantom limb pain. The brain is trying to connect to that limb, but it can't because it's no longer there. All of these systems play a role in our balance, okay? So one thing I'm going to tell you, practice. Simple as that. Practice. Well, what do I practice? We just talked about it. Proprioceptively enriched environments. And again, that's going to look different for all of us, but I'm going to show you some great examples and you're going to find out what works for you today, okay? And then we're going to practice, practice, practice. Understanding all of these systems will give you a greater understanding of what you need to do, okay? And why you are doing it. 2 exercises we'll do today. The eccentric quad activity. We all know what that is, right? Sitting in slow motion. You know what the plop is? You ever seen the plop? You're going down and you're, the good old plop. This is a plop-free zone. We don't do the plop here, all right? It may take some practice, but we'll get you there. That's a great exercise. I'll explain more about that in just a second. And then also our single leg balance. How many of you brush your teeth? Fantastic. When you brush your teeth, you have the counter there, okay? Standing on one foot. For some folks, that's really hard. So what I'll instruct you to do is keep your toes on the ground, all right? And that is a stable but unstable environment. It's forcing the brain to take all of those systems and take that data, unpack it, and give instructions back. The more we do that, the better we get at it. How many of you have ever done something, you were new at it, you weren't very good, but you stuck with it, hey, and you got pretty good at it, right? Same thing here, okay? Any questions? Great. That means I'm either really boring or really good, or great piece of advice my uncle gave me is the brain can only handle what the bottom can take, so shut up. Let's stand, let's get behind our chairs, guys.